Coach Jason Miller, thanks so much for joining us from North Dakota State University. Coach Jason Miller is the Director of Athletic Performance there and is currently moving into his, what is going to be, Coach, 17th year?
Yes, 17 at Thanksgiving. So 17 years at North Dakota State.
That's awesome. Massive congratulations. Really big respect for you and what you've done in the field, and obviously the impact that you've had there to be there with the student athletes for that period of time. So Coach, if you wouldn't mind, please go ahead and kind of introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, North Dakota State University, and potentially the journey that led you to being part of the athletic department there.
Sure. Jason Miller, I've been here at North Dakota State, like you said, for 17 years. So I got here in fall of 2005. First day I got here, I think we had a blizzard, school was closed, and started maybe reconsidering that decision. Been here a long time at North Dakota State. So when I first got here, I was an assistant. We had 4 coaches on staff, 2 full-times, 2 grad assistants. Everyone kind of helped out with everything. So I was involved with football, I was involved with Olympic sports. I had 7 sports of my own that I was in charge of and assisted with football. About 7 years into my position, things changed and we kind of split the department up a little bit. So I started being in charge of Olympic sports. Football had their own director. And we slowly built the program up after that. So football now has 2 full-times, 2 part 2, a grad assistant, paid intern. Then Olympic sports, I have my own full-time assistant. We have 2 grad assistants, then we have a paid intern, and then various interns along the way. So we've been able to build the program up really from small grassroots, kind of doing things, and had a lot of support from our administration along the way. Understanding the needs and how we want to coach our athletes, how we want to train them. Coach has been very supportive, so we've been able to really build up something that's pretty unique. I think it's pretty special here. One of the things that we try and do here is take care of all of our athletes at a high level. So we have a 1 to 10 coach to athlete ratio, which is the need for interns, need for support staff, need for extra help. So basically what that means is when you have a group that's got more than 10 athletes in a group, we've got a second coach. We're very hands-on, very meticulous, very detailed what we do and how we coach it. So it's a very important piece of our program that we have assistants, other sets of eyes. We can really take care of the athletes and really implement a solid, sound program. Keep the athletes healthy, keep them going. Before I came to North Dakota State, I was the head strength coach at Long Beach State in Southern California. So I was there for 3.5 years. And that was a job that I got basically because no one else wanted it. I think I was the last best unqualified person to get the job. And I was very fortunate when I was there. John Garhammer was there as a faculty member. He was on the committee there that hired me. And I think I got there like a week before school. Had to hire a couple of grad students. So it was myself and 2 GAs running the department. It's all Olympic sports. Our weight room at the time was basically a covered cage outside. So I think Southern California outside sounds pretty cool. Well, it wasn't really so cool because we had windscreen, and in Southern California, you're still going to have days that are 35, 40 degrees in the morning. So it made it challenging. Rain was getting in, wind was getting in. So it was a unique environment. When I interviewed, I realized pretty quickly why no one else took it. But sometimes the only option was the best option, and I knew I wanted to try college and really give it a go. So I did it, went for it, built the program up. We had started an intern program off there. Basically, we had a pretty good group that was funneled into me through John Garhammer and his teachings. He was teaching class at the time still. So we get a couple grad students or undergrads that would be interested, and we built that program up. So when I left, we had 9 people on our staff. So I had 3 kind of part-time paid people, basically GAs, and then I had a group of interns there. So kind of been doing the intern training, developing the program, getting people to help out, get them on the floor, mentoring, basically since I started. I started at Long Beach State in 2002. So I've always been going through this process and getting better and better. I think building people up, building a network, and really building a program. Really unique experience there. And it was really cool just because built a program basically from the ground up. They had a program, they went for a year without one, so that didn't go very well, and then got there and just got going. Once again, was fortunate while I was there to have really supportive administration, and we're able to, build a nice program. And then North Dakota State position came open. And for me, this is 5 hours from home, and had just gotten married. My wife's from North Dakota. So it made great situation for us to come here and be here. Prior to Long Beach State, I was a grad assistant at Northern Michigan in Marquette, Michigan. It's a unique grad assistant position because I worked at the Olympic Training Center there. So I worked with short track speed skaters and Greco-Roman wrestlers. And then in the kind of free time, I trained a couple of the Division II teams there, women's basketball and women's volleyball, to gain more experience because I knew I wanted to do stuff at the college level. And then the summers, I ran a couple summer camps each summer for local, like high school, middle school athletes, kind of dipping my toes in the private sector. And when I got done my GA, I think I applied for every job and any job under the sun. And that was back when you were sending out resumes and mailing them out and all that stuff. And it was, I think daily I was sending stuff out, and very rarely was I getting any confirmation that anything happened. Actually at the end of summer, I think I had a job at a PT clinic in Chicago, and it was about, I think 2 weeks away from moving there at the start of August when Long Beach State called and asked me if I wanted an interview. And sometimes I think, like you gotta work really hard in the field. You gotta pay your dues. You gotta put your time in. You gotta do the work. But you can do all those things. Sometimes it just comes down to being the right person, the right place, right time. And when you get your opportunity, make the most of it. I think one of the things that I had done in my GA positions and all my positions I had, and I always talk to my interns and my staff about this, is you always want to be doing the work at the level you want to be at. So if you're an intern, you want to be doing the work that a GA is doing. If you're a GA, you want to do the work that an assistant's doing. If you're an assistant, you want to be a director, start figuring out what a director's doing, so that when you're in those shoes, you're prepared for it as much as you can. And obviously you're never as prepared as you want to be, but I think that the work that I do or try to do along the way as I was developing as a coach, gaining information, understanding how to build a staff, build a program, all those things, has really helped me and benefited me a lot over the years. So that's the story in a nutshell. So.
Fantastic. Well, a well-traveled journey, from the tundra to the beach, back to the tundra again.
You got it. Yeah, I like the cold.
The snow was calling. Oh man, I think this is one of my favorite part about having these calls with these established coaches in the field is listening to the stories and listening to the journeys that they took. And it's clear with you, like the amount of times you said it, you've built these kind of departments around you, potentially at Long Beach, when it was like, it wasn't an ideal scenario, but you made the best of it. And if you build it, as the saying goes, if you build it, they will come. And it seems like they did come. You're able to build the staff, and with the support of a supportive administration, which is music to my ears to hear. You hear those kind of horror stories of administrations that really don't see eye to eye with athletic performance and understand really what they do and the value that they can have. But it seems like however you did it, you made the big time where you're at and pushed on in that way. So that's really great to hear. And you've obviously had a lot of developmental coaches around you, under your wing, as you've moved from Northern Michigan out to California and now to North Dakota State. So specifically speaking at North Dakota State right now, you obviously have a number of different roles. You already mentioned that. You have voluntary interns, you have a paid intern position, a couple of GAs. And so obviously the posting that we have right now is for the paid intern coach. But I wonder if you could talk a little bit about the responsibilities of, for example, a volunteer intern coach versus a paid intern coach versus a GA, and what those look like, and potentially when you're looking at applications, how would a paid intern's application stand out above that of a voluntary intern?
So I guess for a paid intern, we're looking for a person that's had some experience in the field already. So they've done an internship. So a paid intern is someone that's done a volunteer intern, or maybe they've done work as an intern while an undergrad. So we've had situations where people have been involved their junior and senior year, at the school they're at, putting some time in. They become paid interns for us, maybe even doing their 4 credit as a paid internship, but they've got weight room experience. They've been doing some coaching. They've been on the floor. They've been in a college weight room. And typically, we want to make sure that if we're going to make the investment that we're making in that person, that they know that they want to do this. And I think that's the biggest thing for a paid intern is for a paid intern, you're not dipping your toes in the water. You know, you want to be a college strength coach. You sampled it, you felt it out. You know that this is definitely something I want to do. You caught the itch for it and you want to pursue it as a career. And so that's the direction we want to go. Volunteer interns are people that maybe it is their first 4 credit internship. Maybe they've seen some workouts at their college under a college strength coach. Maybe they've done some stuff private setting and they want to explore what things are like in the college setting. And for us, that's a great person. They want to test it out. They want to see what this is for them. And we take those people on as interns too. A lot of people, when they've been in our room, they enjoy the experience, and they decide they want to continue on in the college setting. Some decide, this isn't for me, and that's okay too. That's kind of part of that's what the internship's for, to see if this is the right setting for you, or if you want to go private, or if you want to go in a totally different avenue. Some students have been people that have wanted to go into PT or chiropractic, and they want to do this because they want to understand more about it from a sport performance standpoint so they can be better in their field. And to me, that's a perfect scenario and situation too. You think you want to have a better collaborative team, with your athletic training, PT, sports med, all that stuff. It makes sense to me that you want to bring those type of people in too, should they have that experience. We don't treat them any different. We expect them to coach. We expect them to do everything else our interns are typically doing. But the door is open for the right people that want to come in. Interns in our program, whether it's a paid position or a volunteer position, we take you through a pretty extensive curriculum and training. So whether it's a 8-week summer session or a 16-week fall, we do a lot of training. It's important for us that if you're going to coach for me on the floor and you're going to be working with our athletes, I think our athletes, we as coaches owe our athletes an experienced, knowledgeable coach on the floor. We need to know that they know what the exercises are. We need to make sure they understand why we're doing the exercises, what looks right, what doesn't look right, understand the whys behind it, how we're going to coach our athletes, how we're going to work with our athletes. And so we take our interns through all that. There's plenty of X and O's in our programming in terms of articles on programming, conditioning stuff. We do a lot of reviews on that. There's programming books we'll have them read, just some basic stuff, whether it's APRE or Joe Ken's book. We'll also have them read 531, just some basic understanding of stuff. And then we're going to spend a lot of our time focusing on leadership, culture, programming, because as much as anything else, it's your ability to communicate, your ability to work with a team, work with a group of people, get them to buy into you, and lead them as much as anything else. It's really going to make you an impactful coach. X's and O's will go you a long way, and it's the basis for it. But I think to become a next level coach, whether as an assistant director, or moving forward in the field, I think understanding and really learning more about leadership is really, really important. It's something I'm passionate about. It's something we work with our interns a lot to be better at. Interns in our program also, we test their knowledge. So we have them do projects. You're going to teach us the warm up. We're going to ask you to look outside of what we're doing and show me something different, or see how you do that. Take our staff through that. You'll take our staff through lifts. You will design a beginner program. You'll be designing programming templates. You'll be designing a speed and agility month, a month of program for speed and agility conditioning. And that kind of all culminates in an 8 to 12 week off-season program for a sport that we assign. And these are things that you present to our staff. And that's a huge growth moment for whether it's an intern, paid intern, is like, you got to think. And we'll kind of giving you the baby steps along the way to build you up to it and giving you feedback along the way. But now here's your sport. It's typically not one that you're working with. and you've got to do some homework. You got to ask questions to the staff. You got to, figure all these things out. And it's a huge learning experience for our staff. But I feel like as an intern, if you're going to be a GA, you need to have written a program. You need to have gotten some feedback on that program. And, our big thing is the paid intern for us is very much, it's a 1-year learning experience and mentorship where you work with the sports you're going to work with. You start meeting with coaches, you go through that. So when you become a GA, you're ready to roll. And it's basically like we're asking you to redshirt is what our paid internship is kind of the best way to do it. And if you think in college athletics, you're trading your worst year for your best year. And that's kind of what we're doing here. And if you ask anyone who's ever been a grad assistant, I know it's the same for me and anyone else. It's the first year, it's like you're drinking through a fire hose. Second year, you kind of got it figured out. So well, let's kind of make that first year a little bit better. Bring them in, mentor them for a year, get them comfortable with the setting, have an idea how things go. That way, when it's coming at you, it's not coming at you quite as fast as it otherwise would. And we've been very successful with that. Our paid internship program, I think we've had it now for, 6-7 years that we've been implementing it this way. And it's just been very successful and helped us have a good continuity amongst our programs and coaches, staffs, all that stuff. So it's really helped us too with just relationships, I think, with our coaches and our teams, and allowed us to have some really well-prepared coaches along the way. So.
Excellent. Yeah, no, an incredible amount of gold in all that you just said. I think as much as anything, I was speaking with Coach McKeefrey a couple of weeks back, and he mentioned that anybody who applies to be an intern coach in his program, he doesn't care what level they're coming in at or how articulate they are or how good their resume looks. As long as they have passion that underpins the fact that they want to be in this field, then he's going to give them a shot. And it sounds it's similar for you. They have to have that underpinning passion if they want to be a paid intern coach. If they're a voluntary intern coach, like you said, they're just kind of dipping their feet in the water a little bit, then it's to try things out. I love also what you said about welcoming students who are undergraduates in PT or athletic training or sport medicine. I think it's great to have those different perspectives because you're right, they're part of this athlete life cycle. Unfortunately, whether athletes like it or not, they're probably going to be injured at some point in time. It's just a reality of it, whether it's small or kind of a season-ending traumatic injury. But to have those young people in the room to understand the end goal of where the athlete is coming towards to get back into the collegiate weight room is really, really important. So I love that. I love as well what you talk about the leadership, because we use the word culture all the time. And it's really interesting to hear how people develop those. I think strength conditioning coaches are well known to be the cultural centerpin a lot of times for many different teams. And obviously we feed off of the head sport coaches and what they want their team to be. But the phrase goes, leadership drives culture, which drives behavior, which drives decisions, which ultimately will drive results, at least in the controllables. And so if we can instill the culture of the team within the four walls of the weight room, that's only going to help with buy-in and structure and stuff like that. So I think that's great. One question I did have just to follow up on that is just to confirm for those who are tuning into this video, the paid intern position, is that a semester long basis, and then there's that intern candidate then moves on, or is there an opportunity to extend into the next semester? How does that work for you guys?
Yeah, so the paid paid internship position for us typically is a 1-year position. So typically we do hire that in the summer, usually July, we usually post for that. And then that's a 1-year position that leads into a GA. As long as that person is doing well with us, they want to be here, get into grad school, that stuff, it leads into a GA position for the next 2 years. Right now we're just in a unique situation where we had a paid intern had to step away, unfortunately. Had some family stuff come up, so we're coming to hire at mid-year this year.
Gotcha. Okay, very, very good. So you obviously had a number of successful intern coaches who've moved on in the field, potentially some that were that paid intern coach or that GA, and now they're out there. And it seems like the NDSU stamp is all across the country. You have coaches that have moved on that are in the minor league system with baseball. You have some who are in the high school setting, some in the collegiate setting. So I wonder if you could touch on maybe one or two of those coaches that have moved on in the field, what they were like when they were with you, and what you think made them successful.
Sure. One of the first coaches I'll mention is Brittany Weeb, who's with Houston Astros minor league coordinator. So she was with us. She was actually a student athlete of ours, women's basketball player here. Really got into strength and conditioning. She was one that started doing her internship with us kind of in her last year or so, and just really, she was a student athlete. She was being in the weight room. She was here all the time as often as she could be, helping out, coaching her peers. And she's since moved on to grad assistant positions at Missouri, and just kept building her career. And she's one that had done really well with us. It's kind of fun to see one of your former athletes going to be a coach. Another former athlete of ours that is now done really well for himself is Ryan Swenson at Illinois State. So Ryan was a track and field athlete here at NDSU. He's a multi-eventer, very, very talented athlete, and decided he wanted to go into strength and conditioning, interned with us, and has gradually moved himself up at Illinois State from a GA position to assistant position, now into the director position. So another very, very successful former Bison. Couple others that have started off in our paid intern position and then have moved themselves onward and upward. One would be Scott Rasmussen. So Scott came to us from lacrosse. He was a paid intern for us, probably, I think it was around 2014. And Scott had some really good experiences, but he had a lot to learn with us. And he kind of learned that pretty quickly in terms of what we meant by coaching and attention to detail and all those things. And, there's a couple moments along the way where we didn't know if he was going to make it. And then, he did. And he did a great job for us. His first semester, he had some ups and downs. But always showed up, always took feedback, always listened and learned. And second semester kept growing and got better and better in his position, and then was here as a GA for us, and did a great job. And when he got done, he had a couple opportunities at the high school level, and took the one where he's at right now, and he's been excelling there, and really enjoying that setting and that lifestyle and that impact that he gets to have across the entire athletic department at the high school. And then the last one to touch on would be Rayon Huili, who's at Boise State University. Rayon came to us as a volunteer intern, and kind of finishing off his undergrad. He'd been a football player at Saginaw Valley State under one of our former staff members, Chris Winter, as the head strength coach there. And he kind of got involved with Coach Winter there and showed a lot of potential. And Coach Winter said, I want to send him to NDSU. And he wanted to come here, and heard we'd do a good job developing him. Volunteer intern. I think after about 3 weeks, I said, hey, you want to stay and be the paid intern? And he helped us out a lot, kind of over that next year. Paid intern, became a GA, and then unfortunately he got too good too fast, and he got hired away before he's even done his GA. I think he had a semester left. And Illinois State came calling, and then he was there for a short period of time, and then Boise State called and wanted him there. And very dynamic personality, fantastic person to have on our staff. But we've been very fortunate with our, we have a pretty in-depth selection process for all of our interns, especially our paid internship position. We've got a very strong team network here on our staff. Staff is fantastic. We get along, we enjoy each other, and we work as a team. We function as a team. So we're very, I guess, protective of the process as we're trying to hire people, making sure we get the right fit and the right person, and most importantly, it's the right potential. If I can bring in the right person who wants to learn, is willing to work, knows they don't have it all figured out, but wants to figure it all out, we can turn you into a really good coach. A really successful coach, and we'll work with you. A lot of different personalities have come through our room, and they've all left. It was a very, very good, successful coach, and I'm really proud of the network that we've built up built up over the years. That's a lot of fun for me to look back and see, those coaches and how they're doing and what they built up and the impact that they're having, where they're at. It's probably one of the more rewarding things in my career, as much as it's just, moving up and, you get a chance to compete championships, you're doing well with your teams, but seeing our network do as well as they are is something I'm really proud of.
Yeah, it's excellent. It seems like you've had fantastic continuity, and that's really a tip of the hat to you guys. You're obviously doing a great job to be able to mentor young coaches and then push them towards a position of a paid role and then into a GA position as well, which is great. And fantastic to have student athletes who want to, become strength and conditioning professionals. I think we all have those students on our teams who can't get out of the weight room fast enough. But it's a little bit more rare to have those that enjoy and understand and buy in so much they think that this could be the impact that they want to have in return in the future. So that's excellent. Obviously you touched on it a little bit there in terms of the personal and professional characteristics you have, but I wonder if there are any more details that you could share with anyone that's listening as to what kinds of personalities you're expecting to come and join the NDSU staff.
So I guess probably the big thing is when we're hiring, there's a great book, Patrick Lencioni, Ideal Team Player, and we kind of follow his model. We're looking for someone that's humble, hungry, and smart. And so humble is you kind of know who you are, and you're not too big for the room. You can admit when you're wrong. When you screwed up, you own your mistakes. We want someone that's hungry. We want to do the work. And so one of our qualifying questions we always ask, like, what's the hardest you've ever had to work for something in your life? And it's not to discredit them or discount them, but there's a difference between someone that, the hardest thing I had to do was study for my midterm, versus the person that, we had one of our former staff members literally grew up in a foreign country and had bombs blowing up as he's leaving. I mean, that's a little different impact, and then the last piece for us is smart. And what we mean by smart isn't necessarily your GPA, it's your people skills. How do you interact with other people? Do you have tact? Are you professional? How do you handle conversations? We want good people on our staff. We want good people, good values, honest integrity, and really care about helping other people get better. Because I think as a coach, like, it's not about you, it's about getting the kids better, getting the athletes better. And that's really what we want to work with. And obviously you got to have hunger. You got to really enjoy this. You got to want to do this, because the hours and the pay don't always match up. I think we understand that, but it's the service you get that definitely helps out and makes it worthwhile in the end.
Ideal team player. I'll have to check that out. I haven't heard of that before, but yeah, I love those three words and the statements surrounding them. It's fantastic. Really, really appreciate your time, Coach, and having us, letting us in for a little bit of a peek behind the curtain at NDSU. It seems like you guys have a great gig going on there in terms of coach development. So I'm really hopeful that this page will allow more coaches to find out about your program, about your voluntary roles, about your paid roles, and hopefully with having some of those come your way and then move forward into that GA position as well. Because it sounds like the network you have is growing in the country, and that only helps the young and aspiring professional to grow their network and find new roles as they move forward. So we really, really appreciate it. Obviously, if anyone is watching this video, you can find out more details about NDSU's internship and the paid internship or the paid intern position down below, as well as right at the bottom of the page, all of the details about how to apply to Coach Miller, what things you need to submit, and the deadlines to do so for the various semesters coming up. Coach Miller, once again, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. And we'll be in touch in the near future.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.